Are you ever writing in class, and it could be history class or something, and you're so bored that when you're writing, your writing starts to match to the beat of some random song that pops up in your head, like just out of nowhere? It literally sounds like the pencil and the writing are both singing. Like they just sync up exactly. Like the song could be off like YouTube or TikTok, and it's like a trending song that you've like heard maybe like a few times, which has nothing to do with anything. It just appears in your brain. To be honest, our brain is like a spawn point for random things. I don't know how my brain processes anything that like happens in class cuz like I'm just zoning out half of the time. I hate when people don't cover their mouths when they sneeze or cough, dude. I'm so sorry, bro, but most of the people who do this have like the most extreme iPad kid coughs, bro. Don't worry, I'm an iPad kid who's saying this. And their coughs never sound healthy, bro. It sounds like there's like a brick stuck in their throat, and it sounds like so wet and like disgusting. Those coughs sound so abnormal. The sound is so unpleasant to hear. I'm not saying that like coughs are pleasant to hear, but like you get the idea, right? When I was younger, sometimes I was just in the car, bored out of my mind, and I was just looking at all the cars passing by. And when I looked at them, they literally were making facial expressions. The cars could look angry, sad, happy, annoyed, and like every other emotion. I like how the cars are designed like that so they don't feel so emotionless and boring. These car businesses and companies knew exactly what they were doing. I didn't just see these things when I was younger, I literally still see these like every day of my life. But they did start to look more gloomy and depressing.
Y'all know when they say like the joke, what's it called? How does it go? It's like, why the chicken crossed the road? And you're like, oh, to get to the other side, to get to the other side. It's not the other side of the road. The chicken died. The other side is the other side, like,
I don't get embarrassed often, but when I do, it's pretty embarrassing. You know when you think someone's waving at you and you wave back and it turns out they were waving to someone beside you or behind you? Well, that has happened to me so many times I can barely count. But here's something that happened to me at the mall. This girl was probably talking to her friend and she called out my name. So I turned around and looked at them and they were just talking to each other until they stopped and turned around to look at me. And they had the weirdest expression on their faces and I realized they weren't talking to me. Yeah, don't make the same mistake as I did. I think this is just me, but I can choose whether I want to be an introvert or an extrovert. Like, whenever I'm around extroverted people, I will act, like, more to myself and introverted. But whenever I'm with people that are shyer, I can show, like, my extroverted self. So you know how in elementary or primary school, there would always be that story teachers tell of the kid leaning back in his chair, hitting his head, and getting hospitalized? But that would never happen.
You know what? I absolutely hate group projects. Like, I love working with my friends and all, but when the teacher picks the partners and there's no communication at all, that's when it starts to suck. Because somehow it always turns into a solo project. Like at first everyone's all like, yeah, we've got this. And then they just vanish and it's like the project is suddenly not even group work anymore. There I am stuck doing everything because I do not want a bad grade. I finish everything the night before the presentation, and on presentation day, they got the nerve to stand there next to me like, we all worked so hard on this. Really? Because the only thing you contributed was your name on the doc.
You know what I think about all the time? I can't be myself in public without having one of my friends with me. You know what I mean? Because if I act the way that I act, like, with my friends, it's like, oh my god, she's so quirky and she literally has friends. She must be so funny. But if I start acting freaky alone, I'm getting committed. And I fully believe this is why I can count how many friends I have on one hand. It's like if I think of something funny to say in class, but I'm alone, I'm not saying that because if no one laughs, I'm pulling the fire alarm. But if I say it and my friend is in the class, she'll be like, like at least somebody. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Does anyone else have that one friend that becomes physically abusive when they start laughing? Like, they become violent when they start to laugh. It's horrifying. Like, these people are just laughing, right? And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, you're being pushed, shoved, punched, slapped. Like, you name it, they're doing it. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I don't understand why these people do this.
Did anyone else have that period of their life where they got a baby doll that looked identical to a real baby? They were called reborn dolls. So I had an obsession with being a mother. at like 8 years old. So for Christmas, I made my mom buy me this doll that like someone literally hand painted for like 6 months and gave it to us. Got her on eBay, literally had brought her everywhere with me. Like I brought her to the TJ Maxx in our hometown and I put her in the car and I was like walking around and they're like, oh my goodness, like the baby's so cute. And I was like, oh, it's fake. And they freaked out. Like this baby had veins, like rolls, everything. I would change its diaper, fake feed it. Like this thing looked so real.